Welcome back to Papa's Home. I recently worked on a project to replace all of my plumbing. I released one video to talk about the high-level overview, but in this video, I want to talk about the work that went into replacing the water main. There's three main things you have to consider when replacing the water main: the size, the flow, and the price. So let's start with the easy one. When it comes to a residential water main, there's typically three sizes. On older homes, they may start at 3/4 of an inch. On a newer home, they might use 1 inch, and on larger homes, they might use 1.25 inches. Those will be for homes that have like a pool or jacuzzi or a significant amount of bathrooms. But in isolation, these numbers don't really mean a whole lot. For a moment, let's compare sizes. We'll start with the smallest and the largest. At a glance, you can see that the one on the right is about 66.6, repeating of course, percent bigger. But the amount of water that can flow through it is 266% more. That's a pretty significant difference considering it's not that much bigger. But what exactly is water flow? Well, for that, you need to understand flow rates. Flow rates are measured in gallons per minute, or GPM, and every device throughout your house has a different flow rate. So let's take an example. Let's say I take a bucket, and I start filling it with water. After 1 minute, I turn it off. Now my bucket has 3 gallons of water. That means that from my garden hose, I'm getting about 3 gallons per minute. And all that really is the amount of water in the bucket after 1 minute. So let's look at the potential water flow on the average water main. Assuming that you have average pressure, a 3/4 inch line might be able to yield 23 gallons per minute, versus something that's 1.25 inches is going to yield closer to 62 gallons per minute. That's almost 3 times as much water for a pipe that's only 66% bigger. But why would you care about this? Well, let's talk about some of the other water devices in your house, and maybe that'll give you some more perspective. In a typical bathroom, you might have a toilet, a sink, and a shower. And on average, those have a flow rate of about 3 gallons per minute. But some of your other devices, like your dishwasher and laundry, can use quite a bit more. And if you've got an older home like mine, these are typically on the higher end. And that's not a good thing. These are inefficient devices. If I were to replace these with more efficient devices, or low flow devices, I'd be using significantly less water per device. And for the most part, that's generally the direction I want to start moving in. But why does that matter? Well, let's talk about a real life situation. Let's say you have a bunch of company over, and last night you had a big feast, and there's still quite a few dishes to do. So in the morning, you have some people doing the dishes in the sink while you run the dishwasher. In addition, you might have 2 people that decide to take a shower. Separately, of course. And because you want to make sure everyone has fresh linens, you decide that you'll run the laundry as well. And maybe someone decides to flush the toilet. Well, in that situation, you might be using 21 gallons per minute. But if you had efficient devices, you might only be using 11. So let's tie this back into the size of the water main. Remember this chart from earlier? Well, let's compare it to the numbers we just used. If we were using up 21 gallons per minute, that's almost all the water that I have available if I had a 3/4 inch line. But if I had a 1 inch line or 1.25 inches, that's not that big of a deal. But if I had much more efficient devices, then I wouldn't see any impact to my water flow. But in the situation where I'm using all my devices and have a 3/4 inch line, I may see significant drops in my water flow, especially when I'm taking a shower. So that's why it's typical in newer homes that you'll see a 1 inch line installed. Now let's talk about price. For my house, there was really only 2 types of materials that I considered: copper and PEX. When it comes to price, PEX is almost half the cost. And when it comes to distance, well, I needed to run about 80 feet. So when you do the math, the price between the two is either $240 or $120. But of course, there's other advantages and disadvantages to PEX and copper. As an example, PEX is newer, so it's not really time tested. I think it's been a lot more widely used in the early 90s. It is much cheaper. It's also designed to flex and expand. So if you live in a region where freezing is an issue, maybe PEX is better. But you always want to make sure that you're following whatever your city code guidelines are. The other thing I want to mention is that PEX is designed to bend. If you need to make it bend to get around obstacles, PEX can totally do that. But when it comes to copper, it's really susceptible to calcium buildup. Eventually that calcium begins to stick to the sides of the inside of the pipe and can eventually cause pinhole leaks, which means that it's more likely to break. In addition, if you live in an area with any sort of seismic activity and that pipe bends a little bit, well, that bend might be permanent, and it could constrict your water line for the whole home. That's not very common, but when I replaced some of my copper lines, I noticed that quite a few of them were actually bent. So overall, you might be thinking, well, this seems pretty cheap. Why wouldn't anyone replace their water main? Well, the cost of the pipes isn't so much a big deal. The real cost comes from the digging and all the back and forth with the city for your permit. And ultimately, all of this takes time. So the total cost for my project, with time and materials, was close to $2,000. So to wrap up the water main considerations, if you're in a situation where you need to replace it, go big. If you're thinking about adding additional water devices or an additional bathroom, you may want to be forward thinking and go with a larger size. You also may want to consider putting in efficient devices. And lastly, when it comes to cost, the real cost is the digging. So when it came to Papa's home, we installed an 1.25 PEX water main. This gives me a lot of options if I ever decide to expand the home. The last thing I want to mention is that we did things a little bit differently than normal. I got a little bit paranoid after watching videos on YouTube where people accidentally break their water main. As a result, I had my plumber run the water main through this other pipe called ABS. That's typically used for sewer lines. My thinking is that if anyone ever takes a shovel into the front yard and accidentally hits the water main, they'll hit that outer pipe first, reducing the chances of anyone bursting the water main. So that's pretty much it. In the next episode, I want to talk about water pressure. Specifically a device that I connect to the water main, which is called a pressure regulator. Just so it's a little bit clear, water flow is different from water pressure, and I'll provide a lot more information in the next part of this series. So I hope you enjoyed this video and would consider supporting me. You can do that by simply hitting the like or subscribe button, checking out some of my other videos, or contributing to my Patreon, which I'll link down in the description. You can become a Patreon for as low as $1 per month, and that'll help me produce more and more of these videos. As always, I hope you learned a lot from this video. Thanks for stopping by.